For people who don't have much of a background on Ayurveda and sort of the practices of Ayurveda, I thought it'd be interesting to start there because it's a 3,000-year-old tradition. Um,
Mhm.
what's your introduction to it, or how did you start? Was it part of your daily practice growing up, or did it come to you later in life?
No, so my introduction to Ayurveda is very fascinating, actually. So I've born and brought up in a family of physicians, and my mom is a pediatrician,
Okay.
actually, and my was an I mean she still practices a little, but is an Ayurvedic physician in India. So I somehow, since I was a child, I always knew I wanted to be a healer. I just didn't know what kind of healer or how would I like what modality would I use to
Yeah.
heal people.
Yeah.
But when I was 7 years old, I had like a horrible episode of hepatitis because I got
Mm,
jaundice.
yeah.
And then I had horrible hepatitis for about 2 weeks and nothing was working. Like my mom herself was a pediatrician. I was admitted in the hospital for 2 weeks. They like gave me everything that they could, but my vomiting and my diarrhea would not go down. And my like obviously everything was yellow because I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
jaundice.
Yeah.
And then um, someone gave this address to my mom, who was in India. Ayurvedic physicians are called Vaidyas. And so my mom got an address of this very very old Vaidya or Ayurvedic physician, and that person just said, "I know you're a doctor. I know you would not believe in this, but just take her there to to just see what comes out of it." And she was like, "Okay, this is our last resort. Just let's just go." And I remember even on the car ride there, I was still like I was throwing up in the car
Oh,
all the way there, and I was like, I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to stay in my house and rest. And my mom was like, no, let's just go. Let's just see. So she took me there, and it was in an old hut. I still remember a dark old hut. And she took me in, and she was like, okay, sit down here and let's see what he says. So I just sat down, and he checked my pulse on both the wrists, and
hmm.
he said, okay, I know what's going on with her. I'll mix some powders and give it to you. And he just mixed some powders and gave it to me in like small packets, like paper packets, and said, give her for 2 weeks, she should be fine. And my mom was like, okay. this because obviously you'll be
Was she
skeptical. And
worried? Yeah.
yeah, so she was like, okay, I mean, it's herbs at the max. What it'll do is it'll do nothing or it'll not make things worse. So
Yeah.
we started the herbs, and literally in a week, my like throwing up spells went down, my stool started forming, my yellowish skin, everything just started getting better. And my mom was like so intrigued as to what was in those powders. And since then, she also started using a lot of like naturopathic,
Hmm.
Ayurvedic, homeopathy, like other modalities. I mean, she always used Ayurveda a little bit, but not to that extent, like not to that depth.
Yeah.
And then she got a diploma in Ayurveda, so she started working on like a pediatric Ayurveda for pediatric
Yeah.
group and stuff like that. So since then, I have always been this literally. I mean, Ayurveda practically saved my life.
Yeah.
So I was always intrigued as to what was in those herbs, and I still remember like the distinct taste of those herbs. I still remember as a 7-year-old, very fresh in my mind because I used to hate taking them. But that's what made me better.
Yeah.
And then when I decided to be whatever, what my career path was, I was like, I want to. Ayurveda sounds very intuitively correct as a career path for me because I always wanted to be a healer, and I was like, I no better science than our ancient traditional science.
Yeah.
So I just started learning it. Yeah, and then since the day one of my college, our principal asked us, "What? Why are you here?" I was like, "Why are you learning Ayurveda?" And I said, "I want to globalize this science. I want to take it
Hmm.
to the entire world, and show how powerful it is." And everyone started laughing. I was sure you're going to globalize the science, but I had manifested it, and
Yeah.
literally my life has just flipped. I got married to my husband who's a pharmacist, and I moved to America. I did not have any licensure, nothing whatsoever to practice, but literally everything just fell into its right place at the right time. And I'm here now. I have my own practice, our own product line. It's
Wow.
just phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, how the power of manifestation is so powerful. But yeah, so that's my journey, and Ayurveda, I always say, is my first love.
Yeah.
I just cannot stop talking about it. I'm like deeply passionate about what I do. So
Yeah, I mean, I learned about
yeah,
it in school and got interested, and I always kind of liked the aromatherapy side of it and sort of understanding, how you could use aromatherapy to balance doshas and
right.
and then some of the food stuff, just some of the general principles around it. I didn't get that deep into it, but I
Mhm.
I did go into a little, study at one point thinking I might go into nutrition. So I was giving some
Right.
thought to like maybe studying Ayurveda, but it didn't. I got too busy with other things, so I didn't go
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
there so in the state of Minnesota where you're practicing with me,
Uh,
how does licensure go? I know there are certain kinds of holistic medicine where they don't offer like a specific licensure.
right. So I have a degree called as Bachelor's of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery, which is 5.5 year degree program, which
Okay.
is like where in India we learn the entire syllabus of Western medicine as well as the entire syllabus
Yep.
of
Yep.
Ayurveda. So we do get a doctor's degree in
Yep.
India. We are allowed to practice Western medicine,
Okay.
but here the licensure is so different.
Yep.
Fortunately, there are only 8 states in America that allow you to practice with a degree outside of United States, and Minnesota, luckily, is one of them.
Oh,
And what
wow.
are the odds that I
I
would
know.
land in Minnesota out of all the states? It's just wild. I mean, when I look back at my journey,
Was your
but
husband here? Was that how you guys ended up here?
yeah, my husband moved here in his high school,
Okay.
so yeah, that's how we met. I mean, ours is an arranged marriage. That is a whole other story. Not that we were forced to get married or anything, but yeah, we did not know each other. We just met for 2 times before our marriage and we got married. So we just met for 2 dinners and we got married. I'm like, this is the right person. I know my intuition is telling me he's right, and I'm like, okay, let's get
I've
married.
seen you. I've seen you guys together. Yeah, there's a clear, nice bond going on there. So
Exactly. Yep, yep. So, yeah, so I was, but fortunately, I'm in Minnesota now, and because Minnesota is covered under the health freedom law, I am allowed to. I do not need any other licensure except my degree
yeah,
to practice. Yeah.
and your husband got out of pharmacy, right? He's not doing that anymore.
Yes, yes. So, 2 years ago, we took a very strategic decision. He was in corporate pharmacy, and I mean, any corporate world, it's all
Oh
about
yeah,
just run by numbers, and it was taking a toll. I mean, not just that, and he didn't even see any growth in that aspect of his
right,
life. He was like,
right,
okay, at the max, I can be a district leader, or I can be. He was a district leader. I can be a area leader or an area manager, and then what? Like then what?
right.
Like what? Where are we going? What are we
Yep,
doing with this? So, and are we even enjoying what we're doing, right?
yep.
So we took a strategic decision as to like we want to form our own company, and now Vanashree Ayurveda, our company, we both own it, co-own it, and
It's a
he
big
runs
leap.
the. Yes, it is. It was a leap of faith, but I mean, thank God it's going in the right direction,
Yeah.
and as we expected it to grow. Yeah, we are growing slow but steady. Yeah, so it was a big leap of faith, but I think sometimes in life to grow you need to take that leap
I
of
know
faith,
it.
right? You need to
I've been
accept.
mentoring a lot of younger practitioners just because I didn't have somebody. I mean, I had a couple people that who were more business advisors for me, but no one who was in my own field who I could say
Right.
like, how do you actually make a career out of this? Because
Exactly.
it was, at
Exactly.
the time it was like you work for a gym or health club or you work for like a massage envy or some kind of place, right? If you're in a
Right.
bodywork field. So I was there, so I kind of, cobbled together a few different careers and figured it out. But now I'm trying to help people be more strategic when they first start their businesses so that
Right.
they have some sense of like, I think if
Right.
you do have a passion and figuring out what that is, then you can, everybody gets attracted
Much
to that.
easier. Yes. Correct, correct. And I truly believe in that. You said it the right way. If you, I mean, if you're passionate, people can easily spot fake from real passion,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's not, if you're deeply passionate about what you're doing and if you're deeply passionate about the healing aspect of it,
Yeah.
and that is your first and foremost goal
Yeah.
is healing people,
Yeah.
then all the other things, just follow. I think it's just, yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, obviously, there needs to be a strategy around the business, but the energy matters too, I feel. And it should be a good combination of heart and head,
Yeah.
is what I always
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what was it? I guess what was it about Ayurveda that made you get so passionate? I mean, what is it? What was it that got you excited about like, this is my modality that I'm going to, you know, focus all my time and energy in 5.5 years
First of
to?
all, yeah, so first of all, it being obviously my traditional science, I'm an Indian, so I was
Yeah.
like, let me learn my cultural treatment modality, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so rooted. In India, half of the people don't even know they're following Ayurveda because it's just so
Right.
passed down from generations to generations. Like your grandmother will tell you, okay, if you're just not if you have insomnia or you're not sleeping well, just put a little turmeric and some nutmeg in the milk and drink it at night. It's like
Right.
it's so simple things that are passed down to you from your grandparents or great grandparents, and it culturally is passed down. So half of the people out there don't even know they're following
Yeah.
Ayurveda. So I was like, when I actually started learning is when I started, oh my God, I've already been implementing so many of these things in my life without knowing that it's a science. So that was one thing that really like pulled me towards it, is some because it was a ancient science from India. I was very pulled towards it. And the other aspect of it is the natural science of healing, right?
Hmm.
So there are very minimal side, I mean, not even, I wouldn't even say side effects, but very minimal side effects or no negligible side effects.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then and also that it addresses the root cause. Like it does not chop up like the branches of the tree, right? It
Right.
it'll go to the root and kill the weed right then and there.
Yeah.
So that was something that was very fascinating to me. It was like, okay, so you have a fever. Where is it originating from? Is it your gut? Is it like, because in
Hmm.
Ayurveda everything is related to your agni or to your gut, to your digestive fire. So it goes to the root cause and tries to find um why. Like it does not address what is happening, it will
Right.
address why it's happening. So that's what pulled me,
Yeah.
yeah, towards that
It's the
science.
same for me. I mean, I think you and I have gotten
Right.
to work on each other now, so we kind of we
Yes.
know a little bit about how we work, but it's the same
Yes.
thing for me. Like I'm looking to see where, you know, why things have gotten into a bad pattern. You know,
Mhm.
is there something going on? You know, for me, it's a little bit more looking at someone's nervous system
Right.
and then other systems that might relate to it, whether it's the gut, whether it's lymphatic system, circulatory system. And the more you work with people, you start having instincts about, I want to, you know,
Absolutely.
try this first.
Yes.
And like your work, it's nice to be able to have something that's a very safe, you know, method of trial rather than something that's like a heavy pharmaceutical or a surgery
Right.
or you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
so that's, you know, that's both of our starting points, which is it's just a nice way to be able to work with people.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, that also gives us and them a peace of mind, right? Like
True. Yeah.
nothing wrong is gonna happen. At the max, what would happen is it wouldn't have any effect.
Right.
I mean, that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's, yeah, we're lucky to be in this field, I feel.
But people got so used to, you know, over the last 70 or 80 years of medicine, having something
Abs-
that like hits them so hard that they're like, yep, it did something, but we don't realize what the secondary effects of that are going to be.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's not something you and I have to worry about. And
Correct.
those kinds of treatments oftentimes are not getting to this root cause. So maybe so I can understand your work a little bit better. what are your diagnostics like? Where do you start in terms of trying to get a sense of what might be a root cause?
Mhm. So first of all, we first obviously we look at the symptoms, and then there is a big questionnaire that we go through, assessing through like every system of the body, and also going through the not just the physical but also the emotional, the mental, the psychological, because as a human being we exist on so many different layers of existence, right?
Yeah,
So our mind, body, like everything needs to be in balance for you
right.
to be in balance. So first of all, we would look at the symptoms, like the current symptoms. Then we would go to the history as to when this started and how this started. And that usually helps us. Going back in the history of the symptom usually helps us kind of start. We can start to pinpoint where the problem must have gone
Yeah.
wrong. And then we dig into deeper into each system. So in Ayurveda, we say everything is deeply connected in the body, like not we cannot separate one subsystem from another.
Yeah.
It's just not possible because everything is connected very deeply. So we would then start assessing the gut because 99% of the diseases originate from the gut. If it's not a gut issue, then where is it originating from? Then we
Hmm.
would start exploring other symptoms, but majority of the times it is originating from the gut. Even though you're not having any gut related symptoms,
Yeah.
it could be like a mild symptom like gas here or there, or bloating here or there.
Yeah.
But it could signal the start of a pathogenesis or a pathogenesis of any disease in the body. And we have like 6 stages of pathogenesis, how the disease forms in the body. And it could be in like the first or the second stage where it's not even a full blown disease yet, and it is just manifesting as a mild symptom here or
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
So catching that can be very beneficial at early stages so it does not get converted into a full blown disease.
Yeah.
And then another method that we use for diagnostic method that we use is pulse assessment. So
Yeah.
in Ayurveda, there is another aspect of diagnostic method or assessing what is going on deeper levels in the body, because sometimes, as I said, the pathogenesis could be non-detectable on the tests, or even like there might be like right now I'm treating a client, which is very fascinating. Actually, you might find this very fascinating. No, so she herself is a registered nurse, and she works at Mayo actually.
Hmm.
And she is having only one symptom, which is tremors going down her left hand, and now they have moved up into her face and her lips a little bit. But she has done all the tests. So the
Hmm.
doctors say it feels like Parkinson's, but it's not Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things. But when I looked at her history, it feels like she is holding on to so much trauma in her body. I mean, there were deaths one after the other in her family, and she was very closely, like very close to her father, and he died. He passed away. Then her brother passed away in a very traumatic accident. Then her husband had, a stroke. So it was like very traumatic for her. And her being a kapha, which from
Hmm.
an Ayurvedic standpoint can hold emotions a lot more than any other constitution, is really affecting her body big time. And I don't think it has anything to do, because I checked her pulse and it has nothing to do with Parkinson's. It has nothing to do with her nervous system. So we are kind of working with like a lot of detoxification therapies with her. So the pulse, what it can tell us is it can, from the questionnaire, we get first, we collect a lot of information, and then the pulse will kind of try help us go deeper and try to connect the dots using the assessment from the pulse. Okay, so there is pitta in her gut and there is kapha in her emotional layer. How would that translate?
Hmm.
And then trying to connect the dots and then coming up with a diet, lifestyle, and herbal protocol based on that.
Yeah.
So that's the assessment or the diagnostic methods that we use.
It's so interesting. I have somebody very similar right now.
Really? Oh.
Different hand, other side, but same thing. Kapha, and same kinds of stuff. Lots of trauma in the background. Also, I
Interesting.
think there's a lot of gut stuff going on from what I can tell. Some headaches, um, pretty regular
Uh-huh.
headaches, not full on migraines, but you
Oh,
know,
this patient also had a lot of migraines. She had a history of migraines,
yep,
actually, chronic migraines, and then
yep,
the migraine stopped after this symptom started.
yep,
I'm like, huh, so it feels like Vata is trapped in some other region in
right.
the body now.
This,
Yeah, so
this is what's interesting,
uh,
and I've seen even just through the because I've been working with her for a little while, and she was sent to me from a kinesiologist who picked up on the fact that there's something emotional going on here, beyond what he wanted to do
right.
in terms of gut and supplemental stuff. And so that's I get these people sometimes, and but a lot of times the tremor stops within 10 minutes of a treatment. And usually there's a kind of a big energetic release. So there's kind of like a big shake that goes through the body that tells me
Uh,
that there's a lot going on, at a much deeper level. And
yes,
maybe we can talk a little bit about energy because I know if
I
people are
love
up
it.
for talking this stuff, but I because I know you do energy treatments as well, and
Yes.
my work isn't technically. I think people think because I do such light work that it's an energy treatment, but that's not where my focus is. But I'm very aware of it. I'm very aware of sort
Right.
of like what's
Right.
going on at that energetic level, and it's just something you pick up with your hands if you've done this for long enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I mean, I mean, we did Marma for you. Marma
Yeah,
therapy
yep,
is all about energy work. And it's like 108, 107 points on the body that we press, which holds, like, there are vital points in the body where there certain arteries or certain muscles or tendons are uh, intersecting each other, and those are like specific vital points that hold energy in the body, like similar to acupressure,
right.
but our points are a lot different.
And light, kind of like my touch is.
Correct. And yeah, and they're like and we don't do anything like pressing deep or like
Yeah,
hurting that
yeah,
person. Yeah. But I feel that yeah, I do a lot of energy work. And even when I'm like doing Abhyanga, like Ayurvedic massage is a type of massage that we do. Even do a session with this patient today, and I was like massaging her calves, and I could feel so much energy and grief trapped in there, So it's like certain body parts would hold energy differently, or
yeah.
even are more of have more affinity to certain emotions, right? So yes, I mean, if you are intuitively very open to energy, it will talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could tell after you were sort of in certain places on my body, especially kind of around the face stuff, I was
Yeah.
maybe even more aware, but there were a few places even out further in my body where I was like you can almost kind of still feel those sort of resonance of where your fingers were,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Even as you move along, and that just kind of tells me that, that something has sort of been moved through there, brought to the surface,
Yes.
or however you want to look at it.
Correct, correct. Absolutely. Yeah. And I remember when you were doing the session with me, I could literally see different color lights and stuff. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is
That's
fascinating."
right.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And it's always so great to do treatments who on people who understand energetically like what it means, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, some clients do, not everyone does understand how energy works and how it would maybe transform in a person, or how they would feel on an energetic level when they do those therapies, right? So, yeah, it's just fascinating. But I loved your session. It was
Oh,
just awesome.
that's sweet.
Yeah,
You were great to work with, and I remember the light part, and I think those colors sometimes I think are a pretty significant indicator of energetic shifts that go
absolutely.
on, and something moving. There's a lot of different
Yes.
theories on what the different colors mean. I try not to get too lost in that because not sure that's
Right.
provable, but
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
there's something there that's really
But there
fascinating.
is. Yeah, I agree. There is a very big theory behind what colors mean what.
Yeah,
And I think I saw like green purple,
yeah,
like very, I mean I cannot even explain what color, like it wouldn't be a color that you would see in this like routine life. It would
right,
be
right.
totally something like unexplainable.
Yeah.
Like kind of like aura or like a halo color, like
Hmm.
green, purple halo color. Yeah, but it's really amazing to see how, I mean, energetically things can shift too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's can we go into a few we already kind of started touching on the panchakarma, and maybe you can explain what that is and why you might move from, say, other, doing kind of more supplemental work or doing, diet-based work with somebody, to deciding you want to also include some sort of, other service.
Therapies, yeah.
Yeah.
In Ayurveda, we have two separate things or separate ways of treating. We don't like to call it treating. We don't treat. We balance.
Balance. Yeah.
So two separate ways of balancing. One is shamana chikitsa, which is like where we use diet, herbs, lifestyle to kind of see that the doshas would come back to balance with just those three things.
Yeah.
And now, if the doshas, that means your functional principles, or your let's even talk very basic here. Just your elements are so out of balance that just diet, herbs, and lifestyle cannot help. Then sometimes we have to take help of external therapies
Hmm.
to kind of help the body heal faster
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
get back to balance
Support.
quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, to support, yeah, to support they are called detoxification therapies, but actually truly, panchakarma does not literally translate to detox. It translates to support and
Yeah.
nourishment at
Yeah.
the same
Nourishment.
time.
I've
But
seen
it's
this with a few other therapies that come from Eastern traditions where they don't
yeah,
translate. Because we need almost a medical terminology for it. We don't have it. We don't have something that's actually holistic, I guess, in our
right.
vernacular. So
Right, right. And that's why we have to say it's detox. But yeah, because it's easier for people to understand what detox is. But
yeah.
but there are so many different detoxes that could actually harm you than making your system better, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
this sort of detox is more of a nourishing detox for your body. So
Yeah.
we also see to it that when the body is detoxing, it's not being undernourished,
Yeah.
because majority of the times that's what happens is when we're detoxing, our healthy tissues are also affected during the detox.
Okay.
So yeah, here we try to protect the healthy tissues and only detox the toxins from the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did the marma therapy with me, which is one of the panchakarma, kind of one of these additional therapies.
Mhm.
Um, was there a reason why you chose that for me? Was it based on my dosha? Was it something from intake from me? Do you remember?
I just felt that you might have a good experience with Marma, because I was a one therapy that would be a full body
Mm,
therapy,
yeah.
whereas like Shirodhara would be more local. So
Okay.
more for the Shirodhara is where we pour warm oil on your forehead
Which I
for
still want to
30
try. I think that
minutes.
sounds amazing.
It's just amazing. It's one of the best therapies. I mean, we did Shrodhar on her and she did not have one tremor. I'm not kidding, one tremor. The
Interesting.
moment we started until she like woke up, she was in trance for the entire 30 minutes. Her body did not have a single tremor. And as soon as I like woke her up to massage her is when she started shaking back again. So
Okay.
it was like, yeah, I mean, it is, I call it herbalized meditation. It is so deep. It is such a deep cleansing
Yeah.
for your emotional, spiritual, and mental system of existence and layer of existence. So yeah, I mean, I would urge everyone, if you, that should be something that should be on your bucket list if you haven't tried that yet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
once you try Shirudhara, I bet you've never tried anything like that before.
What
But
what what are some of the other ones that I might want to try at some point
you
of the
would
panchakarma?
Panchakarma, there is Abhyanga, which is like Ayurvedic oil massage, but
Yep.
it's not. I hate calling it massage, but again, there is a lack of terminology
Yeah.
here where we don't know what to use. But I call it mostly like Ayurvedic oil application is what we call it
Okay.
mostly. But it's like literally bathing in oil.
Okay.
It's like so much oil, and then our strokes are different. They're more longer and more focused on specific regions. Yeah, and then we uh, put the patient in a steamer for 15-20 minutes. So I have to
Afterwards or okay.
afterwards. So it helps the oil gets absorbed in the
Oh,
body very
cool.
quickly, and also opens up the sweat pores to
Yep.
detox at the same time. So it's like a two-way mechanism.
And is it sort of
Um,
lymphatic kind of work too, or is that a part of what you're thinking?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
It is. It does cleanse the lymphatic system. It moves the vata around. It moves the prana around, which is your life force energy.
Yep.
Yeah. So it moves a lot. I mean, it think of it as it moves things that are stuck in different
Right.
places in the body.
And I think
Yeah.
this is the difference between the way that we sort of like separate all the systems in Western science and the way that
Yes.
you understand all of that, but I think the from an Ayurvedic perspective and even the way that I think is that all of these systems have a certain kind of flow that they need to be in a rhythmic movement. The gut has a rhythmic movement to it, and that's kind of is that kind
Absolutely.
of what you would also call that life force
Prana?
prana.
Yes. So prana also has yeah, you're right. Prana also has a specific rhythm to it.
Yeah.
It does move. I mean, it's not, and anytime it gets stuck or stagnated is when you'll start
Right.
seeing
Right.
symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this prana, this life force energy, but it's really hard for people to understand what prana exactly is. But when I explain it, I just say that what's the difference between a dead person and you? Why are you alive?
Yeah.
There's obviously something in you that is
Yeah.
keeping you alive, right? Otherwise, we have the same body, same organs, everything is same, but
Yeah.
there's some force in you that is keeping you alive. Now, people call it the soul. I'm like, okay, soul, I understand soul, but soul can only reside somewhere in your body, right? Like your it think of it as the tree is living, but it's living because it something is moving and nourishing it throughout the branches and the leaves and the
Hmm.
flowers and
And from
right. So
underground.
it's this right. So it's the same concept. It's like the soul is there, but prana is originating from the soul and kind of moving, keeping you alive. It's circulating that life force energy is what we call it
Yeah.
all throughout your body,
Yeah.
and keeping each and every cell alive in your system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's a
it is
helpful way
fascinating.
to just think about your own health in some ways. I mean, I,
Hmm.
because I was in, pretty serious athlete when I was younger, and especially as a basketball player, of
Yeah.
all the sports that I played, there was something about basketball where you really understood being in flow, where
Yes.
and I think it is when you're in like the right state, whether it's like your body's healthier, feeling better, you're well slept, you feel good about yourself, and all these different
Right.
pieces, where all of a
Right.
sudden you can almost kind of just let go into flow and just be present and not try to force anything to happen or try to think it through. It
Right.
just sort of happens. But I think it feels so similar to what this prana could be for us too, or just ways of thinking about
Yes.
what we're really looking for in health, right? I
Hmm.
mean, what are we really
Right.
looking for in the first place? When I'm treating somebody, I'm sort of like, what's our target? What are we
Yes.
aiming for here?
Right, right. And that in Ayurveda we call as your Prakriti. So in Ayurveda believes that no two people are same on the planet. Every person is different. And we try to come up with your unique elemental makeup. So if I say you're a Vata Pitta or a Pitta Kapha or a Kapha Vata, that means you have more of certain elements than the others. So there are five elements in Ayurveda: fire, water, air, earth, and space.
Hmm.
So we try to join two elements together, forming these three. functional principles or humors, constitutional humors, we call
Right,
them,
right.
or energies, you can say, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And then these three doshas or functional principles come together to form your unique constitution.
Yep.
So this constitution is always different for different people. No two people can be same. It's impossible that two people are same. Even twins cannot be the same constitution.
Mm,
So we look up at your, and constitution means your natural state of balance that you're born with.
yep.
So say for instance, if I'm a Pitta, I I was born with a certain elemental makeup, but then I say for instance I was growing up or something happened, something changed. I moved to another location. I started eating a new type of diet, and all of a sudden now I have constipation. Why do
Right,
I have constipation? So
right.
I've moved from my natural state of balance to to my current state of imbalance, which is not who I am.
Yep,
Right?
yep.
So our goal is always to go back to the current state of imbalance and move ourselves from the current state of imbalance to the natural state of balance that we were born with. And that keeps fluctuating all the time, ever persistent. So our natural state of balance we are in only when we are born, but that keeps changing, fluctuating with like
Mm,
seasons, during the day, during, because the doshas have their own times of working during the day. And then during the day as well, this state of balance would keep shifting and changing, but not so much so, because this is just the natural rhythm, or natural,
yeah.
again,
Yep,
rhythm, right?
yep, yep.
So it's the natural rhythm of the flow or the change that's happening during the day or during the seasons. And that's why Ayurveda believes that we should live in harmony with nature,
Yeah.
or at least understand how the elements outside are affecting us so deeply, because we are made out of the same five elements.
Right. And the seasons, I know you've talked to me about this a little bit about how you're some of your treatments are there to support people seasonally because we change through the course of these
Absolutely.
seasons. And I've just noticed a lot in my, over the course of my career that there are certain transitional points and seasons that are almost always hard for people.
Yes.
Physically, all these new things sort of pop up. They become,
Yes.
drier or more damp or whatever it is, and
Mhm.
that changes all
Mhm.
sorts of different things with their constitutions.
Yes.
Can you
Yeah.
speak about that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. So the hardest season that, I mean, hard for everyone, no matter what you say. I mean, I wouldn't believe if you say I'm happy in all the seasons. No, you're not. You're just not. It's not possible.
We'll check in.
No, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah,
Or you're just not intuitively in tune with yourself then, if you feel happy in all the
yeah,
seasons.
yeah.
So the I in Ayurveda we call it the Rutu Sandhikal. Rutu means season, Sandhi means like congregation or joining of seasons, or transition time of seasons, and Kala means time. So like Rutu Sandhikala. And Rutu Sandhikalas are very difficult on the body, because what happens is when we are transitioning from one season to another, that season dosha, or say for instance, when we are transitioning from summer to fall, let's say, or from fall to winter, the worst transition is from winter to, so the spring and fall are the worst
That's what I
transition.
see too. Yep.
Yes, and that is very, very common and very normal for the body to feel that way, because in the summer, the pitta, which is summer is a fiery season, so your pitta, that is fire and water element, is very, very high. So it keeps accumulating in your body up until fall, and then all of a sudden it starts getting cooler, and that this accumulated pitta will start like going crazy in your body.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like, okay, what is going on outside that I'm not able to understand?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden things start cooling down, and that's when, this fire and water, I call it as steam. So it starts melting things in the body, and that's why you start having like respiratory symptoms, colds, flus, coughs,
Yep.
all of that. And then from fall to winter, that transition is not as bad, I feel, because our
That's what I
body,
feel too. I'm glad
right,
I think the same way.
our body is already adapted to that cold and that windy kind of weather or climate.
Yeah.
And then the next transition, which is hard, which is the spring, is now over the fall and the winter. which is a high Vata and Kapha season, where water, earth, and air element are just so high, right?
Yeah.
And very heavy and stable, and you feel like you're, I mean, even without eating you just feel you've gained pounds in like the winter, right?
Right.
It's because of the elemental nature of that season. So this kapha starts accumulating, and then now in the summer or in the spring it starts warming, and then again this heavy, thick, gooey phlegm mucus that has accumulated in
Yep.
our body
Yep.
starts melting again. So again we have colds, flus, and coughs and
Yeah.
all respiratory imbalances. So, and not just that, I mean, respiratory system is one system that is affected. Our lymphatic system is congested, our immune system is
Right.
congested, our digestive system is affected big time. I mean, if you just intuitively know during winters you'll feel a lot hungrier than summers, is because we are just like this cold environment pushes the peripheral heat in our core, trying to keep us cool. So sorry, trying to keep us warm. I always say it's like an HVAC system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
our
Oh, yeah, for
digestive
sure.
fire is like an HVAC system, to so trying to keep us cool or warm or warm. And during the winters, because it's so cold outside, the peripheral heat just goes inwards and fires up our core. So
Yeah.
you'll feel a lot more hungrier during winters,
Yeah.
as opposed to summer, because summers it's warm outside. So our body doesn't need to fire the core up. So it dissipates that heat all over our body and
Yeah.
cools us down.
And I
So,
wonder if the spring too is, but part of that is that we are trying to sort of, we'll use the word detox here, but we're trying to move some of that stuff
right,
out of the system. It's like it is kind of a heaviness. It's not always that we put on a lot of
absolutely.
weight, but it's like it is that lymphatic system being sluggish, the gut being
Yep.
sluggish, trying to get that
Yep.
moving. And I think the other part of it is that there's all this new energy that kind of comes from the light and from all these things that are shifting. I think we deplete ourselves a little bit energetically as we're actually going through this recovery process. And so then we start
Absolutely.
feeling it in our bodies in all these different ways. I mean, I would say I see a lot more emotional stuff during those time periods,
Oh, yes.
and and
Yes.
and I see a lot of more inflammatory stuff, or like
Oh, yeah.
people hurting, some, all of a sudden their back hurts, their neck hurts, they're having
Yes.
more headaches. Those are the things that I feel like you would think April and May would be these amazing times for people, but it's almost always when things flare.
Not.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that is true, because your body is already very vulnerable. It's in a state of shock. I don't like calling it shock, but more than shock, I would say it's in a state of
Yeah.
confusion,
It's like
is what I
overwhelm or
would say.
something.
It's overwhelm or confusion. It's like, what is going on,
Yeah.
And sometimes, like in it, especially in our beautiful Minnesota, so, spring can be really interesting. I mean, one day
All
it
over the
could be
place.
like, yeah, it could all over the place. So when, like in the morning, it could be like in 50s, 60s, and at night it could be, -2. I mean,
It's true.
you never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know. So, I mean, think of our poor body and our doshas.
Yeah.
Like, it must be so confused, and it
Yeah.
must be so, like, thrown off. It's like, what do I do here? In the morning, do I keep you warm? In the evening, or
Yeah.
what? Like, yeah, so it's just so thrown off. And that is the time when absolutely we should be doing a lot of detox. And detox is not to like to remove just to remove the toxins, but also to support and nourish our system during
Yeah.
that time, because it is weaker. It is weaker, and it's trying to balance itself out as much as possible.
Yeah.
But it needs support, right? So we
Yeah.
do offer Ayurvedic spring cleanses, which are like a week long. It's a
Hmm.
week long process, where we do abhyangas every day and then steam application every day. So the abhyanga and steam actually melts the toxins from the external part of the body and brings it to the gut.
Okay.
And then we use either purgation or enemas to remove it out.
Ah,
So, yeah, it's a very
I may have to
interesting.
come try that this spring.
Sure, please do. You would love it. Yes,
So,
so that is our very common spring and fall cleanses are very common in Ayurveda, and I mean, ideally we recommend clients to do that every once a year, either on spring or fall. If you're a
okay.
kapha, then spring is the ideal season for you, and then if you're a vata or any other constitution, fall is a really good season.
Okay,
Yeah.
just briefly, can you go over the doshas so that anyone who's listening or is interested in
Yes.
what that might be?
Absolutely, yeah. So as I was saying, there are five elements, right? So there are three doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and each dosha is made of two elements each. So, say for instance, Vata is made of air and ether, Pitta is made of fire and water, and then Kapha is made of water and earth.
Okay.
So now think of the elements that that dosha is made of, and we work with 20 different qualities of things in Ayurveda.
Hmm.
Okay, so we call it Vimshati Gunas. And 20 different qualities are these qualities you'll find in everything and anything you see. Now, say for instance, if I say, how is it outside right now? It's cold and windy, right? If it's outside cold and windy, how can your body be warm? It's just impossible, right?
Right.
Because we are made out of the same elements. Those elements are going to affect us very deeply.
Yeah.
So how would cold and windy manifest in our system during winters? Like for a day like today, it's an extremely windy day. You will feel like all over the place. Your pain would be a lot more higher if you have pain already in your
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
You'll start seeing your skin get so much dry, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is how cold and windy would manifest in your system, or your metabolism would slow down or freeze, literally shut down,
Yeah.
or it could be all over the place. Sometimes, like in the morning, you'll feel hungry, in the afternoon, you won't.
Yeah.
So like we call it erratic digestion. So that's how the qualities would manifest in a person, or these qualities is what we look at. So, say for instance, if you are a Vata person, you would have qualities like dry skin, dry hair. You probably are very skinny, tall. You cannot sit still. Like Vata people just cannot sit still. They
Yeah.
are always moving, or they always have to do something.
Yeah.
They're extremely creative human beings. Whatever ethnicity you come from, usually dark skinned people, like darker tone, skin tones. And then you would see that they have a lot more tendency of having like dryness in the gut, so more prone to constipation or erratic digestion. Like, as I said, sometimes constipation, sometimes diarrhea, all over the place kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
digestion. Yeah, so like routine is very crucial for a Vata person, because if you're doing things on a routine, you're not giving the erratic nature of that air to just do whatever it wants in your body. You're giving it a certain job to do at certain times during the day. So you're telling it, okay, now it's time to digest food. Now it's time to work out. Now it's time to go to bed, Like, so doing things on a routine can really help a Vata person more than any other constitution.
Okay.
Routine is great for everyone, but I mean, as we grow, as we become adults, we just forget about how routine was important for
Yeah.
us, right?
Yeah.
As a baby, we were fed routinely. As a baby, we slept at the same time, right?
Right. Right.
But why did we forget to do the same things as we grow older?
Yeah.
Because I mean, life gets in our way and a lot of things, but doing things on a routine can be very, like that simple change can be very empowering.
Yeah.
Um, the second dosha is pitta, which is fire and water. So when I say fire and water, people like would question how can fire and water coexist, but they do. So we call it as steam. Think of
Yeah.
steam when fire and water. So it's like damp heat, extreme damp heat
Mm.
in the body. So pitta people are usually very, very fiery. So they do not get hungry, they always get hangry.
Right.
So they have to eat on time.
Yeah.
They have super sharp metabolism. They can lose weight very quickly, and they can eat as much as they want and never gain weight. Yeah, they have like very strong, fast metabolism, and very, very sharp-minded human beings, very goal-oriented, aim-oriented, sort of perfectionists. A-type personalities are all pittas.
And
Um,
physically, you can sometimes tell on like from the
yes.
outside, right? They often have like
Correct.
redder complexions, reddish hair.
Brighter, yes, brighter, redder complexions, and more like pale, more whitish skin. So I would not say pale, but more white, like more bright, vibrant, bright
Okay.
skin
Okay.
is what they have. But also very sensitive skin. They are very
Mm.
sensitive human beings. They
Yeah.
cannot tolerate loud sounds, weird touch, weird smell. Like they need specific kind of clothes. They cannot wear all clothes
Yeah.
all the time.
Yep.
Like these are all pitta traits. They're very sensitive to things. And then they also are very oily in nature, so
Yep.
have more oily skin, more prone to acne as teenagers.
Yep.
Yeah, but they're very go 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 kind of people. Do not stop and always are self-critical. I am not enough. I can do
Guilty.
more.
Guilty is charged.
Yes, exactly. You are a pitta.
I know. I know.
Yeah. So they're always like, I can do enough. This is not enough. And then they keep going, going, going. And
Yep.
then basically they burn out and collapse is
Yep.
what they do. But that's what the people need to learn. In Ayurveda, we call it surrender. But surrendering does not mean letting go. It
Yep.
means analyzing the situation. Is this really worth my time, my efforts, my energy, or am I putting too much into this and getting burnt up at the end of
Yep.
this, right?
Yep.
Then what's the point? We are not accomplishing anything, right? Even if we do, then we are already so burnt out that we cannot even enjoy the fruits of whatever we're doing,
Exactly.
right? So that's how Pitta people function.
I've had to learn the hard way.
Yes. Because always learn the hard way. It's the
Yep.
sad reality, but until I always say until they burn out and realize, and the sad part about Pitta is like my husband is like a classic, like an epitome of Pitta. So I live in with a Pitta person day in and day out, so I know how they function
Yep.
really well. Yeah, but until they feel that it's right for them, they'll never do it. So
Mm.
it's a really hard to convince a Pitta person to do certain things
Yep.
because yeah, because they're very, very adamant and
Yep.
very A-type personality. They're like all or none kind of people. They will go all in or they won't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, it's like extremists. They always live on the edge, like on the extremes.
Yep.
They've never experienced moderation in their lives. They just
Yep.
don't know how to live in
I've
moderation.
learned. I mean, there's a part of me that has. It must be some other part of my constitution, but
No, you have a lot of kapha in you too. So
yeah,
you're a bit of kapha.
yeah. It's.
Yeah, you
I've been
yeah,
told
you have a
before
good
by
amount of
somebody
kapha.
else in Ayurvedic medicine that I'm a strange combination, and I think is that what it is? Is that Pitta and Kapha don't tend to be
No,
no,
within kapha it's a very common
very common.
constitution.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, but it could be that your mental constitution could be different than your physical constitution.
okay,
So majority of the times it correlates, but it could be in some people it could differ.
yep,
So yeah, I mean, I have seen interesting combinations all throughout my practice, but yeah, and then the kapha is the third dosha which we were talking about, which is water and earth, which is the most heaviest or stable dosha. So water and earth are heaviest of all the five elements. So
mm-hmm,
naturally, these people are heavier to weigh, more curvy.
yep,
They put on weight very easily, very slow metabolism. They do everything on a slower pace. So they'll walk slow, eat slow, talk slow, everything on a slower pace.
yep,
So all these qualities, not just help you in health, but they'll help you in so many other aspects of your lives, like
yep,
your professional life, your personal, interpersonal relationships,
yep,
yeah, because if you understand what type, say for instance, I know my husband is a pitta. Now I know how to tweak myself when I talk to him. Or when should I talk to him? I always talk to him when he's well fed and he's well rested.
smart.
If I talk to him, if he's not well rested or well fed, it's a disaster. We
Yeah,
either fight or we
yep,
we argue.
yep.
I'm like, this is so, these things can really help in interpersonal relationships. It's like how to
Yeah,
understand.
and
Yep,
understanding yourself in the same way, right? I mean,
absolutely,
I think it helps.
absolutely.
I guess I've looked at this from a lot of different perspectives, but this is also something that's helpful if you're working with an Ayurvedic practitioner long term, is that they know your tendencies and
Yes.
they can also tell when something is shifted because they've seen, your constitutional patterns
Oh, no.
over a
Yeah.
certain amount of time, and they can say,
Right.
"Oh, this is an unusual thing for you,"
Right.
right?
Right. Right. That is so true. That is true. Yeah. So then the kaphas, I would say, are more stable, heavy human beings. So movement is something that is absolutely crucial for a
I
kapha
see. Yeah,
person.
yeah.
And movement, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally, because kaphas can like just mull in their own emotional filth for days together. and it can stick with them forever. Like it just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So the sticky quality of kapha, it's a
Yeah.
good quality if it's in balance because
All of them.
kapha is then right. All of them, all qualities are good. No quality is good or bad.
Yeah.
It's how you perceive it and how you put it to use,
Yeah.
right? If I know I have these qualities, how can I shift these qualities to actually benefit me
Yeah.
than making it worse for myself,
Yeah.
right? So one thing with kapha is like they will not move until their butt is on fire. So like say for instance, if you're a kapha person, you have an exam 3 days from now, you will not study until it's the night of that
Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah, the exam. So yeah, it's always like they will do everything at the 11th hour. They will not prepare beforehand. They will do everything at the end. They will eventually end up like doing it, but
Yeah.
but they'll wait. They'll procrastinate for a long time, whether
Yeah.
it's any decision in their life. Yeah, and they cannot accept change very well. So they have really hard time accepting change.
And so I'm guessing if your practice is anything like mine, most people probably come to you in a constitutional crisis, right? They're sort of like,
Majority of the times,
right?
yeah.
They've sort of hit an endpoint with like something that
Yes.
they're not doing that they need to be doing that, is
Yep.
working against their constitution in some way, right?
Yep. Yep. It's always, I mean, the sad reality is Ayurveda is called the science of life. I mean, like literally
Right.
translated, term translates to science of life. It's actually a science that teaches you how to live in order to prevent diseases in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
But the sad reality is half of the people who come to me are coming for the curative aspect of it,
Yeah.
which is like so much of my energy just goes into telling people, come to me before you actually have
Yeah.
problems. If you come to me, you'll never have any problems in the first
or,
place.
or,
So,
or for just guidance. I mean, I think this is where you and I
right.
also have very similar, paths in our work. Is that we get people out of crisis, and
Yes, but
that
then they don't follow through,
right.
or they
But
go
but
into their
some do, and I think those that
Mm,
do, and this is kind of what I'm getting at, is that when you have someone to guide you, you kind of stick with some kind of program. And this is what at least I
yes,
try to do. I'm guessing you do the same, but you know
yes,
figure out what's in your budget and what works for you time wise to stay tuned into these kinds of things. If you know this is your challenge and it works to work with me or works to work with me and somebody else, oftentimes there's like some combination of people that they need to be working with, then you
right.
know stick with that and keep up with practices, because as you're saying, like, this is the science of life. It's your life.
Yes, absolutely. It is your life. Yes.
That's always my point, is like, it's not for me to tell you what's the right thing for you to do, but I'm here to guide you into practices that keep you balanced.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. I mean, I always tell my clients is once you implement Ayurveda in your life, you yourself are just not gonna let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something because when you follow Ayurvedic principles daily, how you feel versus when you don't,
Yeah.
right? So it would become your second nature, and like you wouldn't even realize that you're now doing it on a daily basis. Like
Yeah.
so many of my clients, like one of my clients we just were speaking, it's been like 10 years she's working with me now. It's literally like she just came for a therapy two days ago, and we were talking, oh my God, it's been 10 years you've been working with me. I mean, I wish everyone could be so compliant, right, and
Yeah.
so diligent about their health.
Yeah.
And she actually didn't even come to me for any, she's such a healthy person, she didn't even come to me for any like per se any symptoms or any imbalances. She just came to me because she found Ayurveda fascinating and she just wanted to learn more about herself and how she could support.
Yeah.
But after I started working with her, she was just, I mean, she was amazed as to, she felt she was healthy, and I took her from healthy to like super healthy,
Yeah.
and she was like, oh my God, I didn't know I could be like at that level of
Yeah.
health. So yeah, it is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, all these modalities are powerful. The only thing is you need to be diligent and compliant. The first few weeks working with me is a pain. It is a pain because it's something that is totally different, and
Yeah,
you're trying to adapt to something that is probably opposite completely of what you're doing.
yeah,
To change those old patterns or old habits takes a long time.
yeah,
Yeah, so first few weeks until you get things down as to what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to eat, and all of that, it takes some time, about 3 to 4 weeks, 3 weeks at least,
yeah.
to
And really, that's not
to
that long. I mean, this is
yes.
but it's
I mean,
but it is a new.
that's it.
It's like I think the hardest part. You know, this new language sometimes for people to get used to in terms of like
It's difficult.
thinking
Yes.
about. And I don't even mean just with Ayurveda. It happens with my stuff too.
Yes. Yes.
But then you start to understand the terminology a little bit more, and then you also start to understand like there's a formula here, and it's going to take some effort to change the pattern of what your old formula was because it wasn't working clearly. And
Right.
there's always a little bit of like, you know, a few steps forward and a couple steps back before you finally get it, you know, get it down and start feeling the effects of it too. But for some
Right.
people, every once in a while, I'll get somebody in who just like they're compliant right away. They just click right into it, and they
Mm.
go. And you know, 4 weeks in, they can't believe that their headaches are gone, their
Yes.
guts better, they're sleeping better, all these
Yes.
things. So, you know,
Yes.
that's what we're here for, and that's why I wanted to talk to you because you're now part of my network. So,
Oh, thank you. No,
yeah,
I really appreciate it. I love these chats because we're in the same field and we can truly understand. And
yeah,
like we holistic modalities are all just reaching the same goal through different routes,
right,
is what I feel. It's
yeah.
just we are doing the same work just in a different way. Yeah, so I really love talking about all of this alternative. I don't even like calling it alternative. It should be mainstream
I know.
modes of healing. But yeah, I mean holistic ways of healing. Yeah, they're amazing.
Well, thanks for taking some time to do this with me, and I can't wait to come in for my my spring treatment.
Oh, I look forward to yeah doing a detox with you. You're gonna love it. So
And
yeah,
for anybody
please.
who wants to look you up, it's Vanashree Ayurvedic. Is that the
Vanashree
Ayurveda? Okay, and I'll throw that up on the show notes
Yep.
on the app here
Mm-hmm.
if anyone's looking for it. But you're easy to
Yeah, and
find.
then I have my Instagram, Facebook. If people want to learn more about Ayurveda, I also have my own YouTube channel,
Okay,
so they can just go to, yeah, just watch some of the
cool.
videos there. Yeah.
We'll throw that up as well.
Yep.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
Thanks, Vanashree.
Thank you, Jeremy.